Hello.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back. Happy New Year. Welcome
Yeah.
to spring 2020.
Yeah, so the semester just started yesterday. You can tell Beth is, I don't know what the word is, thrilled.
Thrilled.
To be back.
Yeah. Thrilled may be the wrong word. Just resigned. No, it's not that bad. It's great. We're glad to be back. New year.
And we're glad to have the students back.
We are.
Because I'll tell you what, last week was
I'm going to move this a little bit
yeah.
you're all like, okay, because I feel like you're kind of half in it. Okay, yeah. It is rough when you guys aren't here.
It is
like,
so
it makes us
quiet
not want to be here.
and weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't like it when you aren't here.
it's boring.
So, welcome back 2020. We thought today that it's real bright. That's why I'm squinting. We probably should be facing the other way.
You want to face the other way?
No, it's too late.
It's too late.
I'll just squint. So bright. It's really more glary than bright.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's overcast.
we're not like, I'm gonna just force my eyes open.
No, it's our aging. It's our
Ugh. God, that's bad. Okay.
it's our diminishing eyesight.
Librarian, blind. Glasses, yes. So, we thought we would do a quick one today to talk a little bit about a change. Kind of a change.
Yeah, a very small change that we think is going to be better for everybody.
But one that may impact you as a student. So, the change.
Okay, so in short, we are no longer sitting on the reference desk for shifts.
By we mean
the librarians.
straight up librarians. Like,
And there were only like three
Only
of
like-
us who did that anyway.
right. Okay, so we're not. So like we had, I think I had like 2 hours or 3 hours a week, and you had 3 hours a week, and we would sit down there for an hour, and we would sit at the reference desk in the Learning Commons, or the Learning Commons desk, or whatever we call it, the desk in the Learning Commons, to answer student questions. And so we're no longer doing that. Librarians are no longer sitting on the desk, but that doesn't mean that we're not still, that we are not available for questions. We're still totally available
Right.
for questions.
The reason that we're not actually sitting there is because the kinds of questions that we are most suited to help don't usually show up at the Learning Commons desk.
Right, or they do. If they do show up Learning Commons desk, we tend to be like, hey, this is not a great place to answer the question. We're trying to like answer other students. The phone is ringing, the chat is going off, like whatever.
And the odds of like a political science question coming to the desk
While you're on the desk?
I happen to be there 3 hours out of the week, pretty small.
The odds are bad,
Yeah.
right? So like the same thing. Like I would get like computer questions, like computer science questions. I don't know. Let me send you to Amy, right? So it really didn't kind of make a whole lot of sense. So what we're doing instead is we're staffing on-call time, right? So like I have, I think, 6 hours a week on call.
I have 6 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the librarians are on call. And we were supposed to kind of do that before anyway, right? Like we were on call in case you guys had questions. But what it really essentially means, though, is that we're guaranteed to be in our office during those times.
Right.
Otherwise, we're not, right?
Who knows where we might be.
Right.
Right.
And so that really doesn't impact you, the student, at all in any way. We just kind of wanted to give a heads up to say, like, we're not technically not on the desk anymore. But instead, we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about something that may impact you. And that's kind of, I don't know if grades is the right word, complexity of question.
I think we should call it research triage.
It makes it sound like we have, like, a mass casualty incident.
It's not that bad.
Okay, right, okay. So,
So we can-
let's define it, and then maybe you guys can come up with a
we
name
can
for it.
range from like minor cuts and cuts and scrapes to
Feasting
right
to leg falling off.
right.
Okay.
So
okay.
research is kind of the same way.
Yes, very true. So let's say that you have a simple question like, I need to find a peer-reviewed article for my marriage and family sociology course.
Some of you are watching right now. I know it. There are
Okay.
like a million of you.
So on the scale of research questions, if like this is the top scale, like primary sources in 17th century French dentistry.
Right.
Okay, that's the top of the scale. The bottom of the scale would be like, I need to find a book on my topic.
Right.
I need to find a peer-reviewed article for my marriage and family sociology course. Is somewhere here-ish,
Right.
right? You do not need a trained librarian to answer that question. Any of the amazing people, I could answer that question for you, right? Like you don't need a trained social sciences librarian
Right.
to answer that question.
You just need someone who's familiar with the library's resources, which all of our staff sitting at the desk are.
Yes, so all people that work at the reference desk are totally trained to help you answer those kind of questions. They're also trained to realize when that question needs to come to
One of the experts.
one of the experts who buy the collection, which is really kind of the thing that like we are very, very well versed in the collection because we teach in the collection and we buy the collection, right?
Right.
So those people are going to say like, hey, this question may be, you will probably want to talk to a librarian. And those questions tend to also be more time intensive.
Right, which means they're very hard to answer at the Learning Commons desk, because if you've been in there, you'll see how busy it is.
Yeah, so like they'll say like, hey, that's a really great question that you might want to see Beth about for two reasons. One, she can like sit down with you and give you the time that you really need, and the phone won't be ringing, all that other stuff. But the other thing too is they tend to be more involved questions, and they're more likely to have a follow-up
Right.
like later, right? So it's a lot of times they'll refer, our staff will refer to the librarian, the liaison librarian, because they want us to know that y'all are doing that project. Like, it's not that they can't answer that question, because the staff are very well trained to answer that question. They just want us to know that that question's
Right,
happening.
so we know what's happening in the class, and we might be able to identify problems.
Yeah, like we may know the faculty member that you guys are working with, or that out of that class, right? And we go like, oh, that's not the way that question's supposed to be interpreted. This is the way that
Right,
faculty
which we
member
have
meant that.
we've already had that happen a bunch of times last
Yes.
semester, where the worker thinks they're asking one thing, but because we are familiar with the course, we realize what they're actually trying to
Right.
find.
So that's what happens kind of in the referral. So we have that built into our like system here in the library, and all of our amazing people who work all the desks know how to do those referrals. But remember that those referrals often don't happen like immediately. Like there's a chance that Stephanie's teaching in a class, or she's in a committee meeting on campus somewhere. So that's why I think you mentioned kind of triage. There are questions that can be answered immediately,
Right.
and then there are questions that
An expert's going to have to deal with.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, like everyone's really well trained in the library to know when to kind of hand you off to a librarian rather than
Try to answer it themselves.
Right.
Yeah. They're really, really good at that.
really good at that. But I guess for you guys as a student is don't think that every question that you have about research needs to be addressed to a librarian.
Right.
Um,
There are lots of people in the library
who know more than I do.
Yeah, who do things that we don't do.
Yes.
So they might even be more equipped depending on what the question
Right,
is. Yeah.
depending. So just kind of remember that if you're like in an English 102 class, perhaps, then anyone can help you find a peer-reviewed article. Any of our awesome trained people can help you find a peer-reviewed article on the topic. You don't have to seek me out directly because I am the liaison for the English department.
Right. And, and I think it might be worth noting that these tend to correspond with the course level.
Yes, that's a good point.
So it's not 100% because you do sometimes see, like, working with a lower level sociology course, which is rather complicated right now.
Right.
But for the most part, the more advanced the coursework, the more likely it is you're going to need that liaison expertise.
And the more likely you're going to, like I said earlier, the more likely you're going to, it's a longer term project, so you're going to want to work with your liaison librarian probably more than one time throughout the life of that project, right? So if it's a 20 to 25 page seminar paper, you're not starting it 3 days before.
No. Right? You're not starting it 3 days before.
You're working on it over the entire semester, right? Maybe even longer, depending on like what's happening. So I don't want to. I guess I want to make sure to say that like there's specialization for a reason, but that doesn't mean that the people at the desk are not totally 100% qualified to answer those kind of questions.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
But again, there is specialization in a topic, and a lot of the time it's because like we know the classes, we know the faculty, and we know the collection really well.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think one way to maybe simplify this is if you have a question, it doesn't really matter who you go to.
Yes.
They'll make sure that you go to the right person. I mean, I've actually had the reverse happen where I've had English 102 students really desperate for help, but I was at a conference.
Yes.
So I said, well, look, go into the
Yes.
first floor Learning Commons
Yes.
and just talk to the person there and they'll be able to help you.
That's a great point. Like, we don't want you to wait to talk to a librarian because you think you have to talk to that particular librarian when anyone can answer that question for you, and you've waited 2 days when you didn't need to.
So just go to somebody, and they'll tell you who the right person is.
Yeah, they'll be like, actually, you need to hold out for Stephanie on that one.
Right. Or they might be saying, they might have said, oh, hey, yeah, I can get that, no problem.
Yeah. So just know that if you go to the Learning Commons desk, ask your question anyway, even if you don't see like one of our faces there. They're amazing, and they do a lot more reference transactions than we do.
They do.
So 90% of the time, they're probably better at it.
I mean, like Beth said, we were only doing 3 hours a week anyway, 6 hours combined. Like, that's nothing compared to what they're doing.
So they're way more, probably better at answering a lot of referencey type questions than I am, right? I tend to probably think like larger scale, and it's really just I need one peer-reviewed article.
Right.
And I'm like, let me complicate this into like this, and they're like, no, I just
please any peer-reviewed article.
And I'm like, actually, let's talk about like now. Okay, so that's change, an exciting one. So we just kind of wanted you guys to start thinking about kind of like maybe the grades of research need. And if they do, like you said, they correspond to course level, but they also correspond to like time on the project.
Yes.
So
if you're writing like a really short kind of argumentative essay, probably you're not going to have as much extensive research as if you're writing your master's thesis.
Right.
Yeah.
Or your PhD dissertation. Right. Okay.
I mean, they need this talk, then
we're in trouble.
We are in trouble.
Y'all got. You need to find your librarian yesterday.
Right.
If we're having that conversation. Okay, so welcome back, spring 2020. What do we want to talk about this semester?
That's a great question, and I think we should open it up to our viewers. Tell us what you would like to hear about.
What do you have questions about?
What would you like to learn about?
Who would you like to see as a potential guest? All sorts of stuff. So we need your help.
Yeah, so comment on this or send us a message. Let us know.
Maybe we could put a post, like a legit Instagram post.
And they comment on it.
Well, and then say like, hey, give us your, like...
That's a good idea.
Like a legit, like, picture post.
A legit picture post, yeah.
Like an actual square.
Yeah, that's good.
A square post.
Because this one will vanish.
Right, like a square post. And say like, hey,
a
square post. So be looking for the square post forthcoming I did that really well.
Nicely done. Right angles.
Like I'm an influencer. Be looking for that actual post. I just gave Stephanie again. Like somehow you always get more work.
Yeah, I always walk away from Marx Library Live with more stuff to do.
Anyway,
yeah.
But she can throw that together in her sleep.
Are going to have to reverse this trend.
Right. So you start throwing. Anyway, she can put together an Instagram post in her sleep. So be looking for that forthcoming, where you can comment any kind of suggestions or comments or questions that you have.
All
okay.
right. Yeah.
Let's do the spiel, Stephanie.
The spiel. Okay, so you're already following us on Instagram. Make your friends follow us too. This is where the cool stuff is happening. We also do have a Facebook and an obligatory Twitter.
Ooh.
Make sure you do follow us on social though, because we have some really cool things coming up this semester.
Such an influencer.
And you don't want to miss out on it. So we will see you guys, maybe not next week, because it's the day after MLK, and you will be gone.
Oh, yeah, because it's my birthday.
That's right. It's her birthday.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to Beth.
I take my birthdays off.
It's smart.
Yeah.
It's smart.
It's very smart. It's like a self-care thing.
It's really sad and distracting to work on your birthday.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, I won't be here next Tuesday. So, happy birthday to me, and we'll be doing, that'll give us a week to kind of maybe look at any kind of comments.
And see what people come up with.
Yeah, maybe make a plan.
A plan.
Planning. Did we tell him who we are?
Oh my gosh, and we have a bunch of new people.
We probably do. Okay, we'll do this now, and then we'll go. It's 2:00.
In reverse, you can hear the clock chiming. That's one nice thing about being outside. I am Stephanie Eversard. I'm the social sciences librarian here at the Marx Library, which is why I was talking about political science, and you're like, what does she know about political science?
What does that woman know? I'm Beth and Shepherd, and I'm the arts and humanities librarian, which is why I was talking about the fact that I do all the English,
French
dentistry, which is my weirdest reference question I've ever gotten, and I feel like it's my go-to.
Oh, it's a fantastic example.
And I was I got it, and I was like, we're in trouble. Okay, so 2:00. We will see you guys
in 2 weeks.
2 weeks
1:45.
at 1:45. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.